Violet?
Yes, Mom?
I went to the grocery store early and I saw you out buying ice cream with Susie.
Yeah, I was buying ice cream with her.
Are you hanging around with Susie again now?
Yeah, I am.
Why?
She's the only girl my age who lives in this building and also goes to my school, so I had no choice but to start hanging out with her again.
Oh, I see. So that's how it is. I don't like to speak badly of your friends like this, but didn't Susie say mean things to your face in front of the other kids? Are you sure you want to be hanging around with someone like that?
Yeah, she did do that, Mom. But like I said, there are no other girls in the neighborhood my age for me to talk to.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, don't live in fear of your friends deciding they don't want to be friends with you anymore and disappearing or cutting you off. Don't just hang out with Susie because you're worried about not having any girlfriends to play with in the neighborhood.
But what should I do if I don't have anyone to play with anymore?
I understand how you feel, but that's the only reason you're still hanging out with Susie, isn't it? You shouldn't hang on to friends just because they're better than nothing, even if they treat you like trash. You should be more discerning about the people you keep around you, and only invest your time in people who make you feel good about yourself and you genuinely enjoy being around. You need to remember how much Susie upset you, and tell yourself that you don't have to put up with her just because you feel like you don't have an alternative.
But what if I can't find other friends?
You definitely will. There are lots of people around and new people will always move in. You'll surely be able to make some new friends. You need to make friends who won't say mean things about you, okay?
But Mom, I am afraid of being left out by myself. I only just managed to become friends with Susie.
Well, you shouldn't be afraid. So what if you can't find another girl your age to play with? The way I see it, it's much better to be alone than to be with someone who makes you feel sad all the time. So don't be scared. It's better to have no friends and be happy than to have a bunch of friends and be miserable.
But Mom, Susie is really pretty, so if I hang out with her, people might think I'm also pretty.
Well, in my eyes, you're much, much prettier than she is.
I am?
Yes, you are. And anyway, the prettiest faces in the world are the faces of people who are confident in themselves and afraid of nothing. If it doesn't feel right, you should stop hanging around with the friend who makes you feel like that. And you should speak up if you feel like you've been wronged. The day that Susie decided to embarrass you in front of all of your other friends is the day that you should have cut her off completely if she was unwilling to say sorry.
Say sorry? But what if I asked her to say sorry and she didn't and then a fight broke out?
Even if you both ended up screaming and shouting at each other, you shouldn't have given in until you received an apology from her.
But our teacher said that we shouldn't fight with each other.
Well, if a problem like that comes up, then I think it's only right for you to start a fight. And if the teacher tells you off for starting a fight, then I'll go over to the school and have a word with her about it. I'll take responsibility for the whole thing.
Okay, Mom.
To be honest, I don't really like how fast things are going with us.
This is fast? I don't think we're going too fast. We've been dating for 2 years already, and we both agreed that marriage was our ultimate goal when we met each other.
Well, yes, but I also think that it's better to do things our own pace and that having a kid a little later on than average isn't such a bad thing. I still think that 2 years is fairly early to be considering marriage, and I feel like if we were to do it now, we would definitely be rushing into things.
But think about the ages that we're at right now. My mom got married when she was 22.
She got married pretty early on, huh? My mom didn't get married until she was 30.
This year will be my parents' 35th wedding anniversary. I just think that because of the stage we're at, it's better to have kids sooner rather than later. My parents are really pushing me to get married and give them grandkids soon. And my dad keeps saying that you've already waited too long and that we should hurry up and get married so that we can have kids already. They're saying that we shouldn't be wasting a single moment.
Wow. Hearing that makes me feel even more pressured and backed into a corner. Are they seriously expecting me to get pregnant straight away after marriage?
That's what they said. They're just worried about your age after all, since my mom started having kids at 22.
And as I told you, my mom started having kids at 30. And even then, she had my brother first, so she didn't have me until she was 33. I think that I would personally prefer to wait to get married until we've been together for at least 3 years. Let's take things a little slower, okay?
I guess you don't really like me that much then, if you don't want to marry me for at least another year.
A year isn't that long when you think about it. It will go by in the blink of an eye. Maybe we'll discover along the line that our values don't match as well as we thought they did and we'll break up. But it would at least be better for us to do that while we're still just dating and not have to worry about the hassle of a divorce after getting married.
I really don't like it when you get like this. Why do you have to think so negatively about things?
I'm not thinking negatively about things. I'm just making sure that we're taking the worst case scenario into account.
But my married friends always say there are lots of benefits to being married, you know? They say that if you're going to get married anyway, you might as well do it as early as you can. And I also worry about my dad, because I really want him to be there for my wedding. You know he's been having trouble with high blood pressure recently.
I know that, but
that's another reason why I want to hurry up and have kids as fast as I can. My dad says that he wants to live to see his grandchildren, and I really want to make that possible for him.
Well, your dad was 35 and your mom was 22 when they got married. Since they have such a big age gap, I guess your dad didn't really have much of a choice but to put himself in a situation where he would be fretting about these things.
My mom is fretting too because my dad is making her nervous about it. She just follows him blindly on everything.
I see. So, that's how it is.
I think we should start by introducing each other to our parents. They're upset that we've already been together for 2 years and they haven't even met you once.
Well, my mom is not upset in the slightest that she hasn't met you yet. She said do whatever you want and go at your own pace.
Is she really not starting to worry considering your age?
No, she's not pressuring me at all. She just says to be careful and have kids whenever I feel it's right for me to do so.
Why is she so relaxed about it?
She said that in this day and age, people have all kinds of reasons for not wanting to have kids, or wanting to have kids later in life. And she respects that.
Your mom really has an interesting way of thinking, huh?
She does? Well, I'm not ready to have kids yet, and that's that. We would also have to worry about saving up to get a house big enough to accommodate kids. So let's take our time on this, okay? I think it's best to take as much time as possible to be well prepared for these things.
I don't see what the big problem is here. We can just get out a loan to help us afford a house, can't we? Both of us have decent enough salaries. Surely we'll be able to pay it back in no time and things really won't be that difficult.
That's just what you think. You have no idea what the reality of the situation is going to be like. And do you think that things are going to be easy with both of us working to pay back the loan while having a baby to look after on top of that? It's because of things like this that more and more young people are pushing back getting married these days. I can even understand why lots of people are deciding to be dinks instead and are just giving up on the idea of being parents altogether.
As long as we work hard together, it will be fine, right?
You really aren't listening to me, are you?
Let's just get married, okay? If a guy says that he wants to marry you this many times, it just means that he loves you very much. So why don't you just accept my proposal already?
Ugh, I'm losing my mind. This really is getting a little too much. It's rare for someone to push marriage this hard at this age, and it's making me uncomfortable. The world is so fast-paced for both men and women these days, huh?
The alcohol is going down really nicely today, isn't it? Hey, waiter! Can I get another bottle of beer over here? And ladies, how about some more snacks?
I think we're all full already, thanks. We've eaten quite a lot tonight.
What are you talking about? The director has given us his card for this company party, so we should be eating and drinking our fill. Let's go to a better bar after this. What do you say? Come on, Violet. Why don't you have another glass? Let's have a drink to celebrate your achievements this quarter. Your performance was the best on our team yet again.
Oh, I'm fine, thanks. 3 beers is my limit, and I've already had those. I'm not going to be drinking anymore.
Oh, come on. Just one more drink. For me.
No thanks. I don't feel like having another drink.
Are you seriously refusing when your boss is holding a drink right in your face?
Fine. Give me that glass.
Yes, that's the spirit. That's how to enjoy yourself at a company party.
But there's one condition. If I have this drink, you need to stop drinking for the rest of the night. Okay?
What did you just say?
I said that if you agree to stop drinking for the rest of the night, I will drink the glass you just gave me. Wow. Violet really is the coolest. Oh, wow, look at the news! I'm sorry, waiter, but would you be able to turn the volume of the TV up a little? Thank you so much. It's not every day that you see a college getting shut down like that.
Ah, is it Greenwood University? Wow, I have so many memories with my first boyfriend there. It makes my heart hurt to think they're shutting the place down.
Who cares whether they're shutting down some college or not? Are you guys ever going to get married?
Ugh. Here he goes again with his nagging. You're such an old fart, Randy.
An old fart? I don't appreciate that at all, thank you very much. You guys should be thinking about having kids soon. Don't all women feel those motherly instincts and want to get pregnant? Do you guys want to take a look at my belly? It's so bloated from all the beer that it looks like I'm pregnant. Come on, take a look. It's really funny.
I think you're drunk, Randy. You shouldn't have any more to drink.
You should all have some kids of your own. They're so lovely and cute. Having them around will make you happy, and you'll be able to contribute to keeping the birth rate high in our country. If you guys don't hurry up and have kids soon, I'll start deducting penalties from your salary.
You're kidding, right?
Oh, you would like for me to be joking, wouldn't you? I'm deadly serious, though.
I know that you have 3 kids of your own, and you think that we're all weird and bad people for not having had any yet. But to be honest, you really don't have any right to tell us whether we should or shouldn't have children.
I don't have the right, do I? That's fine, but I'll show you something that will convince you once and for all. Once I show you this photo, you're all going to want to get married and start having babies immediately. Look at my sweet little babies. They're adorable, aren't they? 1, 2, 3.
You're right, Randy. They really are adorable. As cute as 3 little buttons.
Right? Right?
But there's something I'm curious about.
What is it?
When you have 3 such adorable little kids waiting for you at home, why are you out here drinking with us past 10 p.m. at night, when none of us really want to be here at all? What on earth is it that's making you want to stay out so long, even though the rest of us are clearly not having a good time? Why won't you just let us go home when that's all any of us want to do right now?
What?
You really are the coolest, Violet. Where is this place you sent me pictures of over message?
It's the Delfino Sono Felice Hotel Resort.
Wow, the views of the forest are amazing. But why did you send me this? Do you want to go on a weekend trip or something?
Don't get ahead of yourself.
Then why else would you send it?
I'm planning on booking a few days here as an anniversary present for my parents.
Oh, wow. You really are a good son, huh?
It looks really nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, the reviews seem to be pretty good too.
And to top it all off, it's 5 stars. Yeah, that's why I looked into it.
I'm sorry, babe, but I need to get up and get ready for work now, so I can't talk for much longer.
Have a good day. You too. You haven't forgotten about our plans tomorrow, have you?
Of course not. How could I forget about my first meeting with my prospective in-laws?
Ugh, I feel sick and my head is absolutely killing me. How can you guys be totally fine like that?
It's because we're more used to keeping up with Randy's drinking habits. We can hold our drink pretty well now.
At least you enjoy drinking, Lauren. The two of us don't. By the way, about that news headline.
What news headline?
You know, the one we heard in the bar yesterday, right?
Oh, about that college closing down?
Well, apparently it's because enrollment rates are decreasing since the birth rate has been dropping, and there are just fewer young people of college age these days. After all, our state does have the lowest fertility rate in the whole of the U.S. I didn't realize it was that big of a problem, but I guess it really is. And this morning I saw something else that reminded me of it as well.
What did you see?
Well, there's a pretty big kindergarten in my neighborhood, and apparently that's closing down as well. They had a big yellow bus going around the neighborhood to collect the kids, so I thought they were doing well, but I guess it just wasn't enough.
Wow. Big changes really are happening in society, huh? It seems like everywhere in the world has a decline in birth rate. A lot of women around me have already decided not to have kids and are encouraging me to do the same.
Well, all you need is an old man like Randy to remind you there are still people who try and push the agenda of having kids onto everyone. He keeps on telling us that we should hurry up and have kids, whether he's drunk or sober.
I really don't know why he keeps doing that.
Could it be the attitude of, I'm not going down alone? He doesn't exactly seem to be the happiest dad on the planet, does he?
Do you think that's the case? That's not how I see it. It's not the kids, it's marriage. Men all recommend it to their friends like it's the best thing ever, but really they're just thinking, I can't be the only one who has to suffer through this. I'm taking you with me. They joke, but at the end of the day, it really isn't a joke. The baby problem is another problem entirely. I think a lot of people regret getting married, but I don't think many people really regret having children.
I guess kids are very cute.
Actually, when you come to think of it, Randy never talks about his wife, but he's always talking about his kids.
Also, it seems that the people around me who are nagging me to hurry up and get married and have kids are people whose kids are younger. For example, I think Randy's oldest is only in the 3rd or 4th grade at elementary school. Whereas people who have already been through a lot with their kids tend to say that you should consider the decision more carefully and go at your own pace. My mom is like that too.
My aunts all say things like that to me too. They say that there's no shame in not having kids, and it's okay to want to live primarily for yourself instead.
My mom also says that she thinks it would be fine if I never wanted to get married either.
I love that so much. To be honest, I really don't want to ever get married. Seeing how much money my sister has to invest in raising my 2 nieces, I decided that it would be best to just not get married and not have kids. And I still stand by that decision.
I mean, we're all already at the age where if we got married now, it would be considered a late marriage. Then, of course, we would be having kids later, and there's also the cost of living and the house prices to consider. Most of us don't have the luxury of having one parent stay at home with the kids. In this economic climate, if both parents aren't earning, then the family just doesn't eat. The corporate lifestyle isn't accommodating to parents, unfortunately.
I don't know how Randy was able to have 3.
I guess it's because his wife is a stay-at-home mom. Anyway, it's the same old social issues that people have always been facing. We're burdened with childcare, there are gaps in the childcare systems, the private education grind, and no way to prepare for retirement.
And in the cases of many women, it's not that they are deciding not to have children. Circumstances are making it so they can't have children. Lots of women feel like they have to choose between their careers and having a family, because some companies may favor men or women who are not going to leave the company for an extended period of time.
People keep saying we need to have kids. It's on the news, on personal social media, etc., etc. But when you actually have a child, you have to endure all kinds of criticism. That's the reality. And in the midst of all this, my boyfriend is pressuring me to get married quickly so that we can have kids as soon as possible. Are you going to get married, Violet?
I mean, I feel like you kind of have to at this point. You got into this relationship on the premise that it would eventually lead to marriage one day, didn't you?
Well, we will see how things go.
Hey, Violet!
Yes, Randy?
Here, this is for you.
What is this?
Is your reward for having the best performance this quarter?
Oh, you really didn't have to give me a reward for it.
Oh, really? Then I can keep it?
Of course not. Give it here. But what is it?
It's a voucher that the director had especially prepared for you. It's for some fancy hotel resort in the middle of nowhere. It's called Defino Sono Felice or something like that. And apparently the forest views are amazing.
Oh my goodness. But this is expensive.
Oh, so you do know how expensive it is.
Yes, I do. What are the chances that it was this place? Since my parents got back from a trip recently, I can use it to gain some points with my prospective in-laws off the bat.
Apparently, it's a really great place to relax and unwind. It's particularly popular with older people and stressed parents.
Well, thank you very much for this.
Wow, you really dressed up today, huh?
Why are you talking as if I never normally dress up?
Well, it's just...
Anyway, stop staring at me and let's just get going already.
Yes, sure, let's go.
Oh, by the way, babe.
What is it?
You still haven't paid for that resort weekend trip you wanted to send your parents on, right?
No, I haven't paid for it yet.
I'll give you a voucher for it.
Oh, it's fine. I'll pay for it with my money.
I got this voucher as a reward for having the best performance on my team this quarter. I didn't use my money for it, so you can take it without feeling bad.
You really received a voucher for that exact resort?
Yep. It's a crazy coincidence, isn't it?
Oh, wow. That's amazing. I guess I don't need to book it for them after all.
Exactly.
It's so popular these days, it's hard to get a reservation without booking really far in advance. So this has saved me a lot of stress.
You're really grateful, right?
Yes, I am. So we'll go and see my parents today. Then tomorrow we'll go and see your parents, and then next week we can introduce them to each other. Everything is going to go very smoothly.
Yes. In fact, it all seems like it's going too smoothly. Well, it is nice to finally meet you, Violet. Although I must confess, I'm a little upset that you didn't come and visit us before, since you and Tommy have been dating for quite a while. At least a phone call would have been nice, you know. But we didn't even get that. I'm glad that I finally have the chance to find out what kind of person you are. I'm sorry I didn't call or visit earlier. Now you're starting to officially plan the wedding and everything. I would have liked to have met you at least once before you decided to get engaged to my son. But I suppose that's too much to ask for, considering what young women are like these days. I'm sorry, I wasn't really thinking. If I had known you had wanted to meet me earlier, I would definitely have come earlier. Well, there's no point in crying over spilt milk, I suppose. Now you can just prioritize making up for lost time. I'm sure we'll be seeing much more of you from now on. Right? Yes, of course. Why aren't you saying anything, dear?
Is there anything for me to say? Well, I suppose since you're on the wrong side of 30, it's best to think about having a baby as soon as you get married. It's not great that you would be having a baby so late, but it's better late than never, I suppose.
Well, I'm planning on taking my time before planning to have a baby.
and I would rather not have it straight after getting married.
Take your time! You don't have that kind of luxury at your age. You're already well past 30.
I really don't think that mid-30s is that late to become a mother.
Well, I had Tommy's brother when I was 22, so if you compare it with that, then it does seem a little late, to be honest. When I was your age, my kids were already teenagers. Anyway, it's better to have your kids as early as possible. It's best for your body as a woman, and it's the best thing for the baby as well. You need to accept the fact that your body clock is ticking and that having a baby in your mid-30s is already a little late.
Honestly, should I start counting the number of times they comment on my age in relation to having children?
I really don't know how your own parents have let you go this long without considering marriage or kids.
I did a master's straight after my bachelor's and was late entering the world of work. And because I wanted to try extra hard to prove myself, I suppose I didn't really think about the time passing.
Well, work is another thing entirely. Women of my generation would have their kids first and then think about working after their kids were established, if even at all. There is no work more important for a woman than being a mother to her children.
Well, back in the day, it was the norm for women to give up their jobs when they got married to become full-time housewives. But these days, women are just as educated as men and are just as capable of having fulfilling careers as men are as well. But these days, if women are forced to choose between their career and having a baby, then they will decide to not have a baby and just continue on their career path.
So are you saying that the women who do choose to give up their jobs and become full-time housewives and mothers are stupid and uneducated? I also went to an Ivy League university, you know. Just because I chose to get married straight after graduation doesn't mean that I'm stupid.
I never said that I thought that women who prioritize being mothers and housewives were stupid. I'm just saying that before it was more normal for women, even if they were well educated, to give up the idea of having a career in favor of being a full-time housewife and stay-at-home mom. That's all.
Well, I think the smartest thing to do is have your kids early, wait until they're all grown up, and then start building a career for yourself. I make a decent living as a piano teacher now, you know. I think that the way I did things was the smartest way.
You're right. It was very smart of you to do that. I know that a lot of women who are smart and responsible feel that having children comes naturally to them. But these days, the people who are having children earlier don't seem to be these types, but rather the uneducated and irresponsible types. I feel that most of the mothers keeping the birth rate from hitting crisis points are young mothers who end up pregnant by accident because they didn't think to take proper precautions. For women who know how to family plan a little more effectively, the temptation to be forever without the burden of children is quite a big pull, you know?
Just listen to the way she talks. I can't have her going around thinking that her attitude towards motherhood are normal. You keep saying how difficult life is these days and how that affects people's decisions to have children. But back in my day, we had it much harder. Things were even harder during the economic crisis, but I was still able to maintain my marriage and raise 2 kids without any problems. And if you want to make sure that at least one of your kids will look after you in your old age, then it's better to have at least 2 in quick succession.
I'm sure you did a great job keeping your family afloat back then. But the people who grew up during the economic crisis are still feeling the effects now. None of us are able to securely prepare for retirement, and many people are working way harder than they should be just to get by. I don't know why you're talking like this when Maurice's business went bust 15 years ago and he hasn't had a job since then. So they've been living off his pension and the money that Sheila makes from teaching piano. Surely they can't be trying to sell themselves as the epitome of a successful family.
What did you just say?
I acknowledge that everyone in your generation had it tough, but that doesn't mean that our generation didn't have it tough either.
To be honest, I don't really want to hear any of this from you. If your in-laws tell you to have a baby as soon as possible, you should just say, yes, of course, and have that be the end of it. Why do you have to be so stubborn when it comes to this issue? After all, what is a woman's duty? What is her main role in life? It's to have children and to create a happy family environment. That's a woman's contribution to society. You're already in your mid-30s and you should be more worried about this. You should be prioritizing having babies as fast as you can. You keep telling me that I should have a baby as soon as I can, but where on earth am I going to be raising this baby? Children need comfortable, safe spaces in which to grow up. And right now, I'm not in a position to provide them with a spacious house with a yard for them to play in. In order to even afford to buy an apartment in my own name, I would have to take a loan out, you know? If you want us to have children so badly, then you should also be willing to contribute towards getting us the suitable space in which to raise them. Are you saying that it's a parent's duty to be buying their child a house? Yes, to put it bluntly, that is what I'm saying. Well, if said parents are pushing their children to have children of their own before they're ready, that is. I'm still not saying that I'm never ever going to have kids. I'm saying that I would much rather have some time to get into a position where I could afford to move into a nicer house and give them a better upbringing. We were talking about babies here, so why do you keep changing the subject and making this about houses? It sounds like you're just trying to deflect away from the main point of the conversation here. That's not what I'm doing at all. In fact, I think having a space in which to raise a child is very relevant to the current conversation. I would at least want an apartment with a terrace, maybe somewhere near a park. I'm not delusional enough to think I could get my own standalone property in this economy, but I think something better than the cramped one-room apartment I currently live in would be the bare minimum. I don't even want to think about how much money buying a house would actually cost me. It really does make me shudder. The price of real estate is just getting higher and higher these days. Well, you can just get a loan out, can't you? What's the big deal? You're both young and have good jobs, so I'm sure you'll be able to get approved quickly and then pay it off in no time. Oh, so we're only young when it suits her for us to be young. I see how it is now. When it came to having babies, she was talking as if we were practically geriatric with one foot in the grave. But I really would rather avoid getting into debt if I can. And that would just be the first expense involved with having a child. Don't even get me started on the cost of childcare these days. I can't afford to stop working for too long, and even nannies are crazy expensive at the moment.
Well, you certainly do have a way with words, don't you, young lady? All we were saying is that because you're so healthy and full of spirits at the moment, it would probably be the best time for you to have a baby. We had nothing but the best intentions and didn't mean to offend you. So I don't know why you suddenly started going on the defensive like that.
Exactly! I was just so glad that we finally got the chance to meet you that I may have gotten a little carried away. I just wanted to express my concern about the fact that having children past 33 is never good for both the mother and the baby. I just had your best interests at heart. I didn't expect to be met by such a violent argument from you. I just think it's a wonderful thing to be able to bring new life into this world, and the sooner you can do it, the better. Honestly, I was just trying to be nice, and now you've put us in a very awkward position. I'm not really a huge fan of the way they're talking to me right now. It really doesn't bode well that my prospective in-laws are so obsessed with the idea of me having a baby on the very first meeting. Who knows how bad they may get as time goes by. Honestly, they really know how to keep piling on the unwanted comments. Well, I don't think I necessarily have a way with words. I'm just laying out the facts of the situation here. My priority isn't having children straight after marriage. It's continuing to work hard in building my career, saving as much as possible to get a better house and a better quality of life, and then maybe once I'm satisfied with the other aspects of my life, I will consider having children. If you really do want to speed up the process, then why shouldn't you help us out with buying a place? Well, I really don't know why having a place of your own is so important. When we had our firstborn, we were just renting a pokey little place, but we got by. We saved up and were able to buy a house later on, and as the kids were older, they were able to appreciate the space more, and I was able to make a living teaching piano at home while they amused themselves. Even so, it probably was much easier to buy a house back then, when the price of real estate wasn't through the roof. I've already told you many times that it's not simply about me wanting kids or not wanting kids. It's about the fact that raising kids in today's society, in this economy, is no easy task. All I'm saying is that I won't be having kids straight after marriage, but would be happy to after I've established myself a little better. The environment is very important when raising a child, and I don't want it to be less than ideal for them. Environment? Honestly, I really don't know what you're talking about. What kind of perfect, idyllic environment are you trying to create exactly? My nieces and nephews were raised in a small household where both parents always worked and couldn't spend much time with them, but they were happy enough. The most important thing is keeping them clothed and fed, is it not? And I don't like how you keep talking about yourself and not including my son in any of this either. I already said that for me, the most important thing is getting to where I want to be with my career first, and earning an amount of money that would give my children the best life possible. Not just keep them clothed and fed. I do still want to have children, just later on. How many times do I need to tell you this? So you want to get married first and establish yourself in the marriage before considering having kids. Is that it? So you are conscious about your age after all? Well, it's less that I'm particularly interested in marriage right now. It's more that your son has been pushing me into it for a while now. We might as well get things out in the open now. I don't really think I have anything to lose anymore. Why can't you just be more like my nieces and nephews? They take after their parents and are all raising their kids without complaint while both parents work. They make both a financial and a social contribution to society. Isn't that wonderful? Well, yes, I really respect them for living like that. But I'm saying that in my position right now, I don't have the confidence to do that. I don't have the means to buy the house I would want to raise my children in. And I'm worried that if I take maternity leave from work now, it may cause some significant setbacks in my career progression. What if they found someone to replace me while I'm gone? What if the other employees advance more than me while I'm gone and I have to spend ages playing catch-up? If I can't slot back in at work and start to struggle and end up not getting the promotion I have been aiming for, then I know for sure that I'm going to be the one getting the blame from all of you for doing exactly what you wanted me to do. Look, even though you're in your mid-30s already, it's a good thing that you're still on the earlier side. Things could still be fairly easy for you. But what do you think is going to happen once you turn 40? Do you think it's going to be easy for you to conceive naturally then? No matter how stubborn you are on the issue, the fact of the matter is that it is better to have children as early as possible. I really cannot fathom why you don't just want to do it earlier and make it physically and mentally less taxing for yourself. Just listen to my advice and try having a baby straight away. What are you going to do if it turns out that by the time you're in the place you want to be in life, you're no longer able to conceive naturally and you have to go through IVF? That's more expensive and more traumatic than any of the other things we've been discussing here today. I definitely do think that if I don't have kids, then I will regret it. But I also need to prioritize myself and not rush into something I'm not ready for. And anyway, back in your day, people had children because that's what they thought they had to do. And not many people thought of it as an active choice. Things are a little different nowadays, you know? It's not just simply a question of having the kid and expecting for them to grow up fine. In our current society, a lot more needs to be done to protect and enrich the child to make sure they grow up healthy. And as you say, there are always chances of complications, and it's not even guaranteed that I'm going to get pregnant right now, even if I wanted to. There may already be some underlying problems, and IVF might have always been the only option. And I know for sure that I can't afford to be going through that right now. But think about it like this. When you're old and decrepit and you have nobody to look after you, aren't you going to regret not having children to make sure that somebody will provide for you in your old age? Well, if one day when I'm old and decrepit I get sick or go senile, then I think actually it might be better for me not to have children. That way nobody will be worrying about me, making sacrifices for me and getting upset as they watch me deteriorate.
Well, after sitting here and talking to you for the past 30 minutes, I have finally been able to realize just how much the world has been turned on its head in today's society. I really don't know how we're going to fix things. It looks like they're just going to go downhill from here on out.
Well, honey, after hearing everything that Violet has to say about having children, I'm starting to think that she's not the right fit to be the mother of our grandchildren after all.
When a woman marries into a family as a daughter-in-law, her number one most important duty is to have children. What has the world come to that modern women won't even do that one thing correctly? I really can't believe it.
I think that if we were to have children for the sake of the people around me and not because I wanted to, I would feel even more resentful. If I were you, with that build and a perfect body for having babies, I'd be having kids left and right. More babies is always good for society. Tommy?
What?
Oh, so you are still here. Since you hadn't said a single word for the past 30 minutes, I was starting to think that you'd gone off to make a baby somewhere.
Well, it's just that you were having such a heated discussion.
Now I know that the reason you kept trying to pressure me into having a child straight away was because of your parents' influence. I'm sorry for only just realizing that now.
Well, to be honest, I do agree with what they're saying. The whole world has declining birth rates right now, and I think it's not a bad thing to try and make a contribution to change that, no matter how small. I think it really would be best to just have kids as quickly as possible. Is it really necessary to get so upset and make such a big deal out of this? At the end of the day, us humans were meant to reproduce, weren't we?
Well, if that's the case, then you should tell your parents to go and make another contribution to society, considering the fact that all of us humans were meant to reproduce.
What are you even talking about?
Your mom is still in good shape, although she's not quite in as optimal shape as me. And since she's still fairly young because she had you and your brother so early, I'm sure she hasn't hit menopause yet. So why don't you tell her to hurry up and make you a younger sibling? Obviously, they still do have to worry about being older parents, but because your mom is only in her mid-50s, I'm sure she'll be fine.
What did you just say?
I can't even believe what I'm hearing come out of your mouth right now, young lady. Well, to be honest, I think this is nothing compared to everything you just said to me in the last 30 minutes. It's still not set in stone whether I'm going to marry your son or not, so I don't know why you assumed you had the right to talk to me like that. Especially making comments about my body shape. That was massively crossing the line. Well, there were no bad intentions behind anything we said. Everything we said was for your own good. You're much better than those skinny girls with narrow hips who probably couldn't squeeze a baby out even if they wanted to. We're just complimenting you and telling you that you've been blessed. That's all. Well, that's right. So why don't you just use your own hips to squeeze out another baby? I'm sorry, but I really don't think that I should have to stand here and be backed into a corner over this issue. After seeing what kind of in-laws I would have, and realizing that my fiancé's views are definitely not going to change, I've decided to not go ahead with this marriage. I'm going to go ahead and break off the engagement, so you can all just pretend I was never here if that makes you feel better. I hope you understand my reasoning. It's just abundantly clear that our core values just don't match. I think I've said just about everything I wanted to say, so I'll be leaving now. Thanks for having me over.
You need to apologize.
Why on earth should I apologize to anyone?
You were really rude to my parents just now.
Well, if your parents apologize to me first, especially after making comments about my body, then I might consider apologizing to them as well.
Are you really thinking of breaking off the engagement?
I'm not only thinking of breaking off the engagement, I've already decided that's what I'm going to do. I even said as much in front of your parents just now.
But why, though? You did say that it isn't that you don't want to have kids.
Do you know what the worst thing was about that whole situation with your parents just now? It was that while your parents were attacking me and backing me into a corner, you didn't say a single word in my defense.
Well, I just didn't know what to say. I was speechless. You were doing a pretty good job of talking for yourself, so I just shut my mouth and listened. Did you really need to be so rude to my parents just because you were mad at me for not speaking up? And did they really say anything that bad? All they were saying is that they think it's a good idea to have children earlier on in life.
Is the purpose of marriage only to have children? Is that all you want me for? If that really is the case, then I am definitely not going ahead with this marriage. I think that everything that happened at your parents' place just then was enough of a grounds to end the engagement anyway.
I think you're being a little too hasty in calling off the engagement just like that. Are you really going to decide not to marry me because I took you to meet my parents formally as my fiancé? And they told you that you should be thinking about having babies as soon as possible? I hardly think that was unreasonable of them.
Yes, that is exactly why I'm deciding to not marry you. Do you have a problem with that? Actually, I don't really care whether you do or not. I'm leaving.
Hey!
Stop yelling and get out of the way so I can move the car.
Ugh, I can't believe this.
So that's basically the gist of what happened. I'm sorry that things turned out like this, but I hope you'll understand my reasoning, Mom. Well, what's there not to understand? I already didn't like the fact that you were going to bring him over tomorrow. Why? Tomorrow is the one day of the month that your dad is not here. Ah, is it his fishing trip day? Yes, it's the one day of the month that I get to myself. The one day I get to relax and just do whatever I want. But you coming would mean that he would have to stay here and that my peace would be disrupted. I was so annoyed about the whole thing, you know. You really do look prettiest when you laugh, you know. I mean, obviously, you're always pretty, but you really bloom when you look happy. I think you've done the right thing here, sweetheart. I don't think you would have been happy in that marriage, and I certainly have no intention of forcing you into a marriage you don't want any part of.
Mom, about having kids.
Is having kids really that important at the end of the day? As a mom myself who raised both you and your brother, I certainly don't regret anything. But two of my close friends never did have kids. Even now as we're getting older, they don't seem to regret their decision and they look very happy with their lives. Both of them live pretty comfortably and they enjoy their lifestyles. Neither of them look like they feel as if they missed out when the rest of us talk about our children. I did get married at 30, and I did have 2 children. And now I'm in my 60s, and of course I'm grateful to have you and your brother around to look after me when my health inevitably does start to decline. But when I see my childless friends, I don't think they're too worried about growing old without children to support them at all.
How much longer are you going to ignore my calls and messages? This is the 7th day in a row I haven't heard from you. Let's talk this out before making any rash decisions, okay? We have the dinner booked with both sets of parents tomorrow, and we need to discuss what we're going to do about it. I'll come over to your house right now and we can talk.
Well, obviously that dinner isn't happening anymore since I, called off the engagement. And why on earth would you come to my house without me wanting you to be there? And besides, I'm actually not even at home right now.
Well, where are you then?
I'm at the Delfino Sono Felice Hotel Resort.
But I thought you were giving me that voucher so that I could use it for my parents' anniversary trip.
We're not even engaged anymore, so why on earth would I waste a voucher like this on the likes of you and your parents? We're as good as strangers to each other now. I decided to come here with my parents instead. It's amazing here, you know. It really is a luxury resort. I know why it has 5 stars now. The view of the surrounding forest is beautiful and the bathtub is gigantic. It even has a jacuzzi function and everything. In fact, I'm sitting in the bathtub right now, sipping some champagne and looking at the scenery out the window. Around 2 years have passed since I broke off my engagement with my fiancé after meeting his parents for the first time. I've already met someone new through a speed dating event, and although it's still early days and we're still getting to know each other, I have a lot of hope that this can develop into a serious relationship. Since we're both a similar age, we have been talking about things like marriage and kids from the get-go, but neither of us are feeling any pressure from the other, and we just want to take things at our own pace. Around me, I see a lot of people at ages that are considered too old to start having kids still manage it and do a good job at parenting. I really respect them, and I think that it would be nice for me to become like them too. However, I equally respect people who know their limits when it comes to having kids, and not letting their spouses or family members or any kind of external force pressure them into doing anything they don't want to do. For example, A coworker a few years older than me was telling me how her husband had brought up the idea of having a second child, and she said that she calmly opposed the idea, explained her reasoning, and then both of them were able to come to the conclusion that one child was enough for them. Of course, I don't think there's anything wrong with having 2, 3, or even 4 or more kids. I just think that it's important that the mother is having those kids because it's what she wants and not because she's trying to fulfill someone else's wishes. I think that if a parent feels as if they would rather just have one child and focus all of their energy into them, then that's nothing to be ashamed of. I also think that parents who have children just for the sake of having someone to look after them when they get older have their priorities wrong as well. If you have a child solely for selfish reasons, then it's clear that you're not going to raise them properly. Seeing the people around me struggle with the physical, emotional, and financial pressure of raising a child has really made me aware of the reality that having children is far from a walk in the park. But I believe that if it's with the right person at the right time, then becoming a parent is also a wonderful experience. So my feelings remain unchanged from how they were 2 years ago. I will not be having a child straight away after marriage if I'm still not in the right place in my career and I'm not as financially stable as I would like to be. My ex-fiance's parents made it sound like all you have to do is pop out the baby and then it will essentially raise itself. But it's clearly much, much more than that. It's a commitment to keeping a tiny human alive until they're big enough to fend for themselves, and supporting them and keeping a roof over their heads until they're at least 18 years old. I've seen firsthand the toll it takes on people by talking to my friends and colleagues who are parents. There's also getting my child a good education, paying for childcare costs when I inevitably have to go back to work, and also making sure I still have savings put away for retirement on top of everything else. Then there's also thinking about having things in place for my kids when I pass on, making sure they have something to inherit in case something ever happens to me. There are plenty of practical things to worry about when deciding to have a child, because at the end of the day, it changes your entire life. Thinking about all of those things at once is incredibly overwhelming, and I can understand why many people just give up on the idea of having kids altogether. I think that there's not necessarily a right answer to how people should live their lives. For some people, having children is hugely important, and to others, it just isn't. I think that the bottom line is that the best thing for anyone to do is just to make the choices that they will regret the least, whatever they may be. I don't regret calling off my engagement with my ex-fiancé, and I truly believe that it was the best decision to make for my future. And I feel like I'm able to thrive now because I made that decision back then. I never expected to instantly click with my prospective in-laws and think of them as my second parents and vice versa. But I just think that it would have been nice if they hadn't gone out of their way to hurt me on the first meeting like that. It was also clear that my ex-fiancé did not, and had not ever, respected my opinion when it came to having children. A marriage that starts off so incredibly on the wrong foot like that is definitely not worth entering into.
Hey, Violet. Are you still not in the right position to be wanting kids anytime soon?
What on earth is going on here? Why would you call me out of the blue after more than 2 years just to open with something like that?
Well, you see, I have a kid on my hands now.
Wow, you didn't waste any time, did you? You must have gone and knocked some poor girl up straight after we broke up, huh? Are you contacting me because you want me to congratulate you or something?
Oh, no, it's not my kid. It's my dad's kid. It's my younger brother.
Wow, your parents really went and did as I said, huh? They really did decide to give another contribution to society. They kept going on and on about it. I guess I was right about your mom, huh? She still had it left in her.
Well, the thing is that it's my dad's kid, but it's not my mom's.
Well, what on earth happened there then? Did your dad go and cheat on your mom then? At his age? It's kind of impressive, to be fair. And your mom is just putting up with this. Is she going to grit her teeth and just raise the kid as her own?
No, she stormed out of the house when she found out. It looks like they're going to be getting a divorce.
That's hilarious. Your mom really is a hypocrite then, isn't she? She was preaching to me about how a woman's greatest duty is to be a mother, no matter what the circumstances. And more babies is always good because it's a contribution to society. If she really practiced what she preached, she wouldn't be leaving your dad over something like this, and she would make herself the martyr and raise that kid.
Well, she says it's none of her business because it's not her kid.
What about your dad? If he's going to go and cheat with who I assume was a younger woman if she got pregnant so easily, then he obviously doesn't think so lowly of young people these days and their lack of family values. If he really was the family man he says he is, then he wouldn't have cheated on your mom in the first place. Is he not going to take responsibility for the kid either? Even though it's his own flesh and blood? Honestly, your parents really are something else.
Let's just raise the kid together.
You know what, Tommy?
What?
You're even stupider now than you were 2 years ago. It clearly wasn't enough to just live your life doing whatever your parents wanted. And now you're going to raise your dad's affair baby for him? You really are the dumbest of the dumb. Not marrying you is the best decision I ever made in my entire life.